Making a track cutting guide. I've decided to make a new track cutting guide, and I'll explain what it is as I go along. This comes with a kit with the razor saw. Razor saws available from X-Acto. I've also got a Draper version of it, and it does allow you to cut at 45 degrees or 90 degrees to the straight along there. However, the problem when cutting track is that as you're sawing it, you're likely to move the rails, and so a block like this can be used to hold the track, but I'm going to make one that will fit into here. So starting with an offcut of wood, if I cut it to the width of this guide, then I can start to mark it out so that I can make my track cutting guide. So not quite a good fit yet, so I just need to sand that down so that this block of wood will fit inside here comfortably. A bit of sanding, and now this block of wood is a comfortable fit inside the mitre block. So on to the next stage, which is to actually mark it at the correct gauge for my track. Now, if I'm not using this block of wood and I'm just using the razor saw, I would push the track hard up against the far side of the mitre block, and then saw it at the appropriate angle. Here it would be 90 degrees across there, and by holding it hard up, it's held reasonably securely. That's okay if you're using the mitre block, but there are situations where I want to cut track in the middle of the layout, and so what I'm going to do is drop the block in with the track centrally mounted, and then rub it up and down on the track. And then what happens is when I take it off, I have some markings on the wood which are to the track gauge. And now what I'm going to do is cut some saw slots in the wood on the underside, directly in line with those markings. Trying to cut both slots at once leads to a block which is out of gauge. So one saw slot has been cut, that's this bottom one, and then I've rubbed it on the track again to mark the position for the second rail, and I will hold it on the track just to check that position. Now, for some reason, where the marks appear is on the inside of the actual gauge itself, so you want to be cutting towards the outside of those marks. But you can see the block of wood now is a reasonable fit onto the track. Can be used in here to hold the rails so they don't wobble about as you're sawing them. But also, if you're in the middle of the layout and you want to saw, the razor saw's not out at the moment, then you do have an edge. You're holding the track and you're going to be able to saw down with both rails held firmly just by holding that block. I wouldn't say you could use this as a check gauge at all or anything, but it is quite a handy little block of wood, very quickly and easily made to allow you to cut the track. However, that is fine if you want both rails to be cut at exactly the right position on a sleeper joint or halfway between. It really eases the task of cutting it with a hacksaw, junior hacksaw, or with a razor saw, and you actually don't need this block anymore. That's all you really need.